Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I am drinking a peppermint latte. I went to Dunkin' Donuts this morning during this, when it's this time of year and it's Christmas time. I like to have at least one or two peppermint. I used to get it at McDonald's. I used to get their peppermint mocha, but I don't think they sell them anymore. So now I have to go to Dunkin' Donuts, and they have a peppermint latte that I get. I like the McDonald's one better, but this is pretty darn solid. Now, every day when my 8-year-old gets home from school, if he sees any cups that let him know that I went to Dunkin' Donuts or Chick-fil-A or McDonald's or anything like that, he is furious with me because he says I'm not allowed to go to any of these restaurants without him. He likes to go get breakfast in the morning. Okay. I wanted to show you this. This was an awesome tweet from Gold Telegraph. And I think that this right here lays out why you have such a tremendous opportunity. This is the surface stuff of why there's such a tremendous opportunity and why we are in my opinion, we're in the best place. We are at the very center of what I consider to be the best investment in the history of finance, period. And that is digital assets for several reasons, of which just watch all my videos. But the core of it is that fiat is a joke. Inflation is a lie. We've been lied to, and we've told that what you're looking at right here is the way it's supposed to be, and it doesn't have to be that way. It's a lie. 1943, cost of living. A new house was $3,600. Average income was $2,041. New car, $900. Average rent, $40 per month. Tuition at Harvard University, $420 per year. Movie ticket, 35 cents. Gasoline, 15 cents a gallon. Eggs, 21 cents per dozen. Talk about inflation. Folks, there's never going to be more than 21 Bitcoin. There's never going to be more than 100 billion XRP. At some point, probably sooner rather than later, maybe this week or next week. At some point, I believe you're going to get regulatory clarity on how these digital assets will be classified. Regardless, think about this for a minute. Regardless of how they classify XRP, let's say security, whatever, security, currency, whatever. Nobody knows, or supposedly nobody knows. But regardless of the classification, just getting the classification from that day forward, you then know that you own a digital asset that there will never be more than 100 billion of. The only reason this happens is because there's an unlimited amount of US dollars, and they have devalued our money over time. When I was a kid, all you ever heard is buy land, they're not making any more of it. And that still holds true. The things that they're not going to have more of are the most valuable investments that there are. There's a reason. Scarcity is a real thing. It matters. It matters. Let's say there's 40 million millionaires across the world, but there's only 100 billion XRP, and all of them want to have whatever, 1 million of them. I mean, this thing gets really, really interesting, and I believe that there's going to be quite an acceleration in the value of these digital assets that are the chosen ones. I believe Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, XLM are just a handful of the chosen ones. And this is going to get very, very interesting because of what you're looking at right here. What happens to the value of those digital assets that are in limited amount? And just as an FYI, Bitcoin, there's only 21 million. XRP, there's only 100 billion. That's all that will ever be. XLM, there's only 50 billion. They used to have 100 billion. They burned half of it. There's only 50 billion XLM. The writing's on the wall, folks. Now, I want to make you aware that almost every day now, CNBC, the traditional media, is covering Bitcoin. Mike Novogratz was on again. Interesting. Again, he's Bitcoin maximalist. I think he sees that as his first lick in this digital asset space. I'm sure he owns others.
With Bitcoin's surge over the past 2 months, some crypto bulls say money is moving out of more traditional assets like gold and now into digital plays. For more on Bitcoin's record run and today's wild ride, we're joined by Galaxy Digital CEO and all-around crypto, we're not going to say it, we're just crypto maven, I'll call you, Mike Novogratz. Mike, it's great to see you this morning. Just help us understand, let's first talk about this issue of gold, which is you do have what sounds like, at least anecdotally, institutional investors and others moving out of gold into crypto. How meaningful do you think that is thus far?
I think it's meaningful, but it's not the real story. The real story is adoption of Bitcoin, adoption of crypto across a vast variety of accounts. You saw Scott Minerd at Guggenheim talking about, filing to be able to buy it. AllianceBernstein, made an about face and decided that should be part of their portfolio. So it's just a litany of institutional investors that are changing their mind or realizing that now is the time, there's enough liquidity for Bitcoin to be part of it. The broader gold story.
Mike, can I ask you? Yep.
I'm sorry, you're asking.
Let's talk about gold in a second, but just to the point that you just made, though, about institutional investors investing in Bitcoin, I think it's worth noting, because we had the CEO of Grayscale on yesterday, and even the approach that Guggenheim and some others are taking to Bitcoin right now is they're not actually buying Bitcoin proper. They're not buying Bitcoin itself. They're buying Grayscale, the fund effectively, which effectively then goes out and buys Bitcoin. There have been times where Grayscale is effectively out of kilter with Bitcoin, meaning it's moving and it's not exactly in tandem with where Bitcoin is. There's big fees on top of what Grayscale is doing. And the reason people are investing in Grayscale and not Bitcoin itself is because Grayscale is actually invested in all of the sort of know your customer, effectively all of the sort of wraparounds that investors would want that actually aren't applied to Bitcoin itself.
Yeah, listen, if Bitcoin was easy to buy, the price would have been a lot higher. And so Grayscale Trust was a very interesting way for people to get kind of ETF-like exposure. It's not an ETF, but it's like an ETF to Bitcoin. And so that's the easier route. You're seeing more and more now institutional pathways. We have a fund. There are plenty of other funds that are geared towards institutions. And we're seeing activity in those funds start to pick up as well. As people do the homework, the big hedge funds are going to end up buying Bitcoin themselves, and they're going to custody at very trusted custodians. And so you're seeing the evolution of this industry and it's speeding up in an accelerated fashion. I keep saying, we can't hire people fast enough to keep up with the demand of new customers wanting to learn about this or wanting to participate. And, it is a digital gold story. All
right. So there's probably another clip of him. I haven't seen it yet, but when I find it, I'll grab it and show it to you. Now, this is something else. I was watching CNBC this morning. I wanted to show you this. They have now added Bitcoin to the permanent ticker on CNBC. So I said, Bitcoin now permanent part of the CNBC ticker. Traditional financial media has been activated. All the world's a stage, folks. We've watched, these people have been, listen to me, these people have been accumulating behind the scenes for 2 years now while their media was writing all the negative articles about how Bitcoin and crypto are going to zero and all that stuff. Their media, which they control, was all poo-pooing this whole thing for 2 years. We were watching, it's used for money laundering. I'll never forget when I saw, there was an article where Goldman Sachs came out and said that they thought that Bitcoin was going to go to zero. And I remember seeing that and thinking, man, these guys, they got some gall to say those kind of things when they know it's not true. They're literally, I think they call that talking their book, or something, or some saying they have. And basically that means lying and getting the retail public to think one thing so that they can make strategic investments. It's marketing terms for lying. Riz XRP, in 4 months, the best is yet to come. This is a tweet from the Cryptic Poet. Look at this. This is the XRP trust with Grayscale. It had, for July, 3.1 million. And then now in November, 23.8 million. How about that? So you can see what's happening right now. Now, this morning we had there was a dump in the market. Let me refresh that. There was a dump in the market, and this is what's interesting in these bull runs about these dumps. You can see them. They're very clear. You can see it happened right here, somewhere between 7 and 8 this morning, and someone intentionally just tanked the market. They probably did it in Bitcoin, and then the whole market follows it. And it went, XRP literally went from like almost 66 cents down to 60 right there in a very, very short period of time, and everything dumped. It wasn't just XRP, it was Bitcoin, it was all of it. This market had dumped from, I think it was around 578 billion down to like 550 billion, like really quick. You can see it right here. But this is normal stuff in this. What's important is that you just have to understand, you're going to have a lot of that along the way. I keep telling you, it's going to be a bumpy ride. But if you know what you own, it's irrelevant to you. Doesn't mean a thing. Joker says it right here. He says, when Bitcoin gets to the all-time high, some booking benefits, some short, heavy, some but sadly will be liquidated. Demand is high, so it pumps back up quick. Very volatile days ahead, especially this week, but the direction is up. Dips give you free money. Well, that's what I do, is buy dips. Now, but I want to make sure a lot of you need to understand the psychology of what a lot of the holders of XRP and Bitcoin and some of these other digital assets, what the way they're thinking. There are a lot of people, many that are in the on XRP Twitter and are like, have been around for a long time. There are so many. I see them every day. They still don't know, and a lot of them are influencers. They still have no freaking idea what they own. And those people see the last 3 years, they see it as, man, I wasn't as right as I thought I was about what this is. They don't understand what they own. And those people are waiting to get back to close to the all-time high so that they can get out and just forget all this. They don't know what they own. So those people, you will see a lot of exits in XRP and Bitcoin and some of these things as we go on and get on towards the all-time high and at the all-time high. A lot of them are going to get out early. They're not going to, because they don't know what they own. This is a world-changing thing. And I'll say it again. There's only 100 billion XRP. The second that XRP gets a designation, at that very moment, I mean, I already know, but at that very moment, well, here's what you know. What you know at that very moment is that you own something that only has that only has and ever will have 100 billion, and it's going to be used in the financial system of the world from now on. In other words, this will create dynasties. I'll say it again. This will create dynasties for people who know what they own. But most people don't know what they own. Even the people that say they do, and even a lot of the people that are on Twitter and YouTube and talk about all this all the time, I hear them use words like pump and all this stuff. When you hear the word pump, just go ahead and write it down. Those are people who are thinking of this in a very small way. That is not what XRP is. Pump and dump. That is garbage talk. What this really, really is a new financial system. Here's what I compare it to. Imagine, I've told you the story of the creation of the Federal Reserve when they all went down to Jekyll Island and they all sat in a room and formed and created the idea for the Federal Reserve, and then went back to Congress and basically made it look like it was Congress's idea so that the public would think that Congress hatched this when it was actually 5 rich families. Well, imagine that you were on those trains to Jekyll Island. Imagine that you got to sit in that room and they divvied up and they were creating this new Federal Reserve or this new financial system. And imagine at that table that they had 100 billion XRP and you were able to get your share. That's how I see this. This is not some pump and dump. This is going to change the entire world's financial system. And I believe XRP is in the very center of that table in Jekyll Island. That's what this is. hope you understand what I'm talking about here, because I've not been in this for 7 years for no reason, talking about one company and one digital asset. Write it down. This is a world changing. This will change the entire financial system of the world. This is not about some investment where scam artists are pumping and dumping. That's all short-term silly thinking. This is going to change everything. Everything. Okay. So next, Joker also said this: Bitcoin 23K XRP 0.89 to $1.44 through December 14th. I think he's probably hitting the nail on the head there. Now, this didn't really surprise me, but I was going to bring it to your attention. Just in, Coinbase was the firm that facilitated MicroStrategy's $425 million Bitcoin investment. The company's disclosed Tuesday. I'm sure Coinbase is helping many other companies that we don't know about yet do the same thing. Coinbase has an institutional arm. Okay. So, and then Stewart XRP, he sent me this. This is a CZ Binance tweet from the CEO of Binance. You do realize that the current part of the Bitcoin chart will be a flat line in a few years, right? What he's saying is what has been this way down here, the flat line, that Bitcoin is going to find a new bottom, which will be probably like a 20,000. I think Novogratz said it'd be like a 20,000 would be the new flat line, and it'd bounce up and down off of that. Okay. And by the way, something I just thought about that I haven't told you guys. Yesterday, a few days ago, I was helping many of you used to have Binance.com accounts, not Binance US, but Binance.com. If you have any of your assets still on Binance.com, they're giving you I think you have 10 days left to get any coins you had on there off. All you can do is withdraw. You can't trade anymore if you're a U.S. citizen. This is for U.S. citizens. So I was helping a friend of mine get his stuff off. And then we got to Cardano and you couldn't get it off. And so I had reached out to Binance. Now they didn't come back and tell me, okay, it's you can do it now. But I went in yesterday to help the guy to look again on Cardano, and we were able to get it off. So you can withdraw Cardano off of your Binance account if you've had any stuck on there, because I did it yesterday. All right, moving along. Now I keep showing you this Michael Arrington, the best friend of Brad Garlinghouse, his tweet, December 3rd, crypto people, mark your calendars. Well, this was sent out today. Okay, I think it was today. Let's see, December 1st. Yep. All right, so it says, great news, interesting email from Barclays. Great news, you'll have faster settlements from the 3rd of December. Dear customer, in these busy and challenging times, we know how important cash flow is to your business. That's why we're giving you faster settlements on your GBP settlements from the 3rd of December 2020 onwards. So instead of waiting for up to four working days to receive your money, you'll receive it the next banking day for no extra charge. That's interesting. All right. Mr. B tweeted this out. He keeps reminding us 2020 is the year of the digital asset according to Ripple. And there's 30 days, 6 hours, 8 minutes, and 32 seconds left in the year of the digital asset. He's referring to this article. And I wanted to remind you all of something that Brad Garlinghouse predicted in this article. CEO Brad Garlinghouse. Now I want you to think about this, folks, against the backdrop. Only 21 million Bitcoin, only 100 billion XRP, 50 billion XLM. There's only a handful of these things that are going to be around in the end. CEO Brad Garlinghouse is even bolder, predicting that half of the top 20 biggest banks in the world will actively hold and trade digital assets in 2020. He is also one of many on that team, on the team that believes fiat currencies will go digital in the next year. So, think about this for a minute. Everything that you have seen in this market so far was the catalyst really was PayPal. PayPal is like what really got this going. But what he's saying is he's predicting half of the 20 biggest banks in the world will actively hold and trade digital assets in 2020. We haven't seen that yet. So what if we get all of what we've gotten so far off just PayPal? What happens when we start seeing the announcement of these big banks? And what happens when they start accumulating? How about them apples? Get ready, folks. because there's something else that we haven't reminded you of in a while. There's a little thing that was supposed to go live this year, and we're in the last month of the year, by the way, and it's called Polysign. Polysign, for those of you that haven't been around, is an institutional custody. Polysign develops state-of-the-art, secure, scalable infrastructure for financial institutions to leverage their digital assets, building the future of digital assets. And their old website used to say that they will scale to the trillions. Maybe they would want to scale to the trillions so that they could handle custodying digital assets for 20 of the biggest banks in the world. Who knows? So, but for those of you that don't know, Polysign was formed by a couple of guys from BNY Mellon, one of the largest banks in the world and one of the largest traditional custodians in the world. This guy, Jack McDonald, and David Schwartz and Arthur Brito, two of the guys that created the XRP ledger. Imagine that. So, Polysign said, here's a tweet, Polysign is in the early beta and will launch in 2020. Well, there's only 1 month left in 2020, so I'm waiting for my Polysign. I'm waiting for the announcement. It's any second now, as far as I can tell. And that is the gateway. This is how these big banks, one of the ways these big banks are going to be able to get into this game. All right. Kraken Exchange, XRP holders, here's something to put a spark in your day. Kraken plans to support the Spark airdrop program. That's a big exchange, so that's good news. Here, let me have a sip of my peppermint latte. Oh, that's good. These things are so good. All right. Bond Crypt. Authorities shut off. Pay close attention, folks. Authorities shut off electricity to Bitcoin miners in China's Yunnan province. And he says, Pomp, how about what Brad Garlinghouse said in your podcast makes sense now that it can happen. Well, let's give Pomp a break here. What Pomp said, which is one of those things I might wake up in the middle of the night laughing about. What Pomp said was that he thinks China can shut down the miners, which they did in essence by turning off the electricity. But he says they can't control the miners. So China is into shutting people down, just not controlling them. Communist China, that is. You can't make this stuff up. But look at this. And while you're looking at this, remember, this is the whole point that Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple's been making for all this time, is that China controls Bitcoin at will. And for that reason, XRP Bitcoin has never been the one, folks. But here's the other part. The United States of America would never, not in a million years, put itself in a situation where there was going to be a new financial system and it's dependent on Bitcoin, which is controlled by China, not in 10 million years. And I will show you that they've been thinking about it and planning for it. Michelle XRP Vet, who is a bot number 985589, sent me this. This is the actual little write-up on this. Bitcoin miners in China's Yunnan province cut off from electricity supply. The Bitcoin miners in the dark, according to multiple reports from Chinese crypto news sources on Monday. They issued an order for power stations to cease supplying power to Bitcoin miners in the region. It's China's fourth largest Bitcoin mining hub, And then there's this. Venezuela cuts electricity for Bitcoin miners. Imagine that. It's almost like it's a coordinated effort. And then Bob XRP.com sent me this. And this is from Max Kaiser. This is just a few days ago, I believe, November 28th. China seizes $2.5 billion of Bitcoin as Beijing set to dominate future global economy. So the bottom line is this, folks. Obviously, China, no telling, China could even be Satoshi Nakamoto. No telling what they have that they can dump and manipulate the markets at will. And the idea of what Pomp was saying, that China can't go in and control a company, is preposterous. You're talking, these are thugs. These are people that don't value human life. These people will kill you at the drop of a hat if you get out of line. I mean, come on. The idea that they're going to go in, that they won't or couldn't go in and control a company is just silliness. Okay. So this is what we're talking about. All right. and then this, let's see, XRP Army News sent this, and here, just another thing, just one more. I keep telling you, Bitcoin's dinosaur technology. Kieran Kelly says, whilst people are shining their Bitcoin trophies and celebrating its success, it might be timely for me to say that I've been waiting 6 hours to receive my Bitcoin today from my brother-in-law, which currently stands at 0 confirmations. Unconfirmed, 0 confirmations. This is the reality of it. That's the reason that the United States and nobody in the world was going to build including China, was going to build their financial system around Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the test case. Bitcoin is the 1.0 to XRP's 2.0. Bitcoin is for grandma. It's 101. And I believe a lot of these major investors like Mike Novogratz, their intention all along has been to make their lick. It's an investment to make the money, but they know that it's not the one. It's not the one that changes everything, changes the entire financial system. These guys, for those of you that haven't been around, this is Digital Currency Wars, a national security crisis simulation. I'm not going to play the video. I've played it 1,000 times. They literally did this at Harvard University in 2019. They simulated, and the whole idea of this simulation was that China has a digital yuan and now the U.S. is behind. And what do we do? What are we going to do? I've always said, if they were simulating these digital currency wars at Harvard in 2019, what were the intelligence operations doing 10 years, 20 years before that? It's not like you just, get behind when you're the world reserve currency. It's not like you just, China's doing this, but we're scratching our heads. We don't really know what to do. Bullcrap. The U.S. has been preparing for nobody keeps the world reserve currency status forever. History tells you that. The U.S. has been planning for this switch over to a new financial system probably for decades. Okay. They knew that this day would come, and they didn't sit around waiting for China to create their own digital currency and over here terrified trying to figure out what to do. They're way ahead. That's bull. It's baloney. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button and tell your friends and family that I'm not saying that the United States is going to be the world reserve currency anymore. I think that it's going to be some type of a shared situation. And you know what else I think? I think the U.S. has been working with China and Russia and all these countries all along to have this be a new system. And I think they've done it because nobody wants World War III. And I think that that's the kind of thing involved here. Those are the kind of stakes we're talking about. Thanks for listening.